Like, you don't always want to be stuck into playing the same exact thing every time. And although that might be appealing to some people, considering the fact that we've run into hackers probably upwards of 50% of the time that we've played Verdansk, it makes it very hard to want to get
Yeah,
involved
literally.
in a game that potentially could take you 40 fucking minutes to finish. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Beers and Boss Battles.
What's going on?
Hello, Rob. Hey.
Hey, man. How are you?
Hey, dude, you are ridiculous.
Dude, it's been a little bit,
It
right? I
has been a
mean,
little while. Yeah, I
let's
know.
not drag it on because this seems to always happen every time we do an episode. But yeah, it's been a while. We'll put them out once in a blue moon, I guess, at this point. And there you go.
All right, there it is. But what is that behind you? What are we talking about today? Like, that's
Oh,
a big deal, right? You fucking
dude, it
bum.
looks like there's some sort of a battle going on in back of me. I don't know what's going
It
on.
feels like a war zone.
Like a zone with war taking place inside of it. I don't
All
know.
right,
It's
but here's
strange.
the thing. We have said nothing. We're making point of like your fucking lame background that you found on
Yeah.
Google. But the other
I
part of
don't
it
use
is,
Google,
we
okay?
didn't, no,
I don't use.
well, no. You know what, Rob? You're being fucking ridiculous
All right.
again. I'm trying to say something
I
to the crowd. All right.
I
Or
use
fucking
a
say
different.
stuff, bro. Like, look at this. You're out here talking about fucking Call of Duty Vanguard, all right?
But
And
don't ever pronounce it like that again. That was terrible. No, stop.
so, you hear this? Hold on. You hear this?
Oh,
You know what that was?
could that have been a beer? Maybe.
All right. So, what are we drinking today?
Oh.
That's actually a better question. Honestly, though, all jokes aside, welcome back. It's me.
Welcome
Guys,
back.
stuff
Welcome
back
back.
by Rob.
Welcome back.
And you gonna act like this every time we do this?
Yeah,
No,
man.
fucking
Come on, we gotta get everybody excited, man. It's been a while, right?
All
I
right.
mean,
No,
if like the one person that may watch this for 3 minutes, like the first 3 minutes has got to be like a little more entertaining, you know?
Yeah, which is why we're just doing what we do to make fun of you.
Yes. I mean, you're more making fun of me, but
Yeah,
I'm
but
used to that, and
as
that's
a
okay.
crowd, like everybody joins in, everybody's like, "Yo, this guy sucks."
Yeah, Rob sucks. Stupid
Yeah,
Rob. I know. I go through it on Xbox Live daily.
yeah, that
But
is a fact.
hmm.
We do kind of torment you. No, but genuinely, uh, glad to be back. The main point here, though, is what we're drinking, and that for me today is what is this? So it's by Zero Gravity. It's called Wet Hot American IPA. That sounds sexual. It's 8.1 ABV, right? Pint can, as always. Zero Gravity is a fucking great company out of Vermont, but I don't know. I actually haven't drinking beer in a long time, too. It's
Really?
weird.
You've been sticking with those White Claws, eh?
White Claws, Lover Boys, High Noons, and whiskey and
What
wine.
is a lover boy?
So
I don't know
should
what
I
that
give
is.
like some background? Because I feel like now you're gonna ask that, and then anybody who actually stumbles upon this is gonna be like, "Yo, what is a Lover Boy?" Yeah, so Lover Boys are like a tea-based alcoholic drink. Very good. No sugar, no carbs, no nothing. Just it's like 90 calories a fucking can. It's awesome. Definitely one of my favorite drinks right now. So yeah, I haven't really been drinking any like beer or anything, but this is the first time. So uh, probably in quite I don't know, maybe like a month. No, maybe less. I probably have like a beer like here or there in
Like
passing.
a Coors or something like
Yeah,
that,
some
or a
dumb shit, but
Miller.
I haven't had like a good beer in a while. So we're gonna hope
Mm.
this is good. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and take a sip.
Put it in your mouth.
I gotta be honest, that is super good. That is like coming back to beer. I have some high expectations. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, I haven't had it in a while, right? Like my taste, like my palate might be a little bit different. No, this is fucking great. So I don't know. I'm gonna take another sip and I'll tell you exactly what's going on there, but it's really good.
Dude, I'm
Rob, you
really
agree?
hoping that it's super good the second sip.
Yes.
You know, super. It's got to be super twice in a row.
Super, super good.
Is it like Super Smash Brothers, kind of like
It's
Super
that level of
Mario?
good. I've got to be honest. It's a little more fruity than I expected. It's. I didn't even bother to mention it's a double IPA, by the way. But I guess that kind of is a given if it's like 8.1. But anyways,
Pretty
no,
high,
that's
yeah.
actually really fucking good. Question is here, what are you?
Oh, All right, so what I'm drinking today is Blue Point Pinstripe Pills. So for any of you baseball people out there, I'm a Yankees fan. I'll be honest, I am not super up on sports, so like I have no idea what's going on. Like I think the Yankees are not playing that great right now. I don't know, but I am like a lifelong Yankees fan. So I saw this, I like Blue Point, and I was like, let me try it. And let me take a sip to kind of remind myself what it tastes like.
Blue Point's good. Blue Point's a good company.
Yeah, it's good. It's smooth. Nothing like crazy. I wouldn't say like it's like amazing, but it's good. It has a little description here: brewed with generous amounts of Pilsner malt. The bright golden Pilsner is balanced with what does that say? A mint of lime aroma from a specialty hop. A perfect brew to pair with a sunny day at the ballpark, friends at the backyard BBQ, or in your living room. Hey, I agree. This would be a good beer if you were having a barbecue or at a ball game.
So, I
Yeah,
almost,
it's good. I'd say if you like Blue Point, you're gonna like this. If you like Pilsners, you're probably gonna like it. I'm not gonna get like beer snobby here at all because I'm not gonna like pretend like I'm picking up on a ton here. And if you've watched any older episodes since I got COVID months ago, my taste is like probably 60% of what it used to be. So I really can't pick up on like subtle tastes the way I used to. So I mean, it's good, it's solid, I like it. I had a few of these the other night and it was nice. Like no like hangover, no like feeling a little like loopy the next day or headache or anything. Like I felt fine. It was good. It was smooth.
so I almost kind of wish I was drinking the same thing as you because like I like so like let me throw this out there. This is great and it's awesome, especially if you're like a big IPA kind of like sweeter, fruitier kind of beer. This is really like down that alley, 100%. The only thing I'll say is like this is it's kind of sweet, so I almost kind of wish I had something a little bit more like light. It's I mean it's heavy. It's a double IPA, so it's gonna like sit a little stronger. But yeah, I almost kind of wish I had something.
It's maybe like a little bit too heavy for the mood you're in, kind of. It's like
Yeah, I mean the taste is like
more
one
than you need.
thousand percent there, but maybe like it'll get better as I go along. I feel like that's true for most drinks, but yeah. Hold on.
But one thing I want to throw out there too, I have gotten beer requests, which I have not gotten any of those beer requests yet, so I stink. But I will be working on that. So hopefully next episode I will pick up a couple different beers that have been recommended to me. So
So maybe
uh,
it actually is worth. We're not like just without diving like super far into it, like just let's say getting into what's worth talking about. Before we get into today's topic, which is obviously a big giveaway because of Rob's awesome background that he found on Google.
oh, I mean, it's sweet. I mean, let's be real.
No, actually, I got to be honest. I actually love all the artwork, all the visuals that they've done for the game. So without saying anything more, really, we're going to kind of touch on the Call of Duty Vanguard. We have some other things maybe in mind we'll get to. It has been a little while. I've been kind of working on music and doing my own thing. Rob's been working a shit ton, so we haven't really made these videos as frequently. We would definitely like to do it more often. It's just really difficult. Like we have to carve out a specific time of the day, and it has to make sense for us. It's very difficult to do. Anyways, nonetheless, so what are we thinking about this, right? So like obviously Call of Duty Vanguard that came out, or the teaser came out, I want to say like less than a week ago, right? That came out in Call of Duty. We've had that new
Yeah.
mode where they teased it. So if anybody that sees this video in a timely manner would probably know, like they have a new thing in Warzone, like a new game mode, and I think it's called Protect for Dansk or something for Dansk. Anyways, and so
And it
like,
was terrible.
and so it's
It,
really silly. It's super arcadey. There's really no challenge to it. You drop in, it's you and maybe 30 other people, and you try to take down a train. It's not really that crazy. Anyway, so at the end of it all, you kind of get this like teaser trailer for the new Call of Duty game, Vanguard. Um, what do you like? So I'm assuming you've seen this now, Rob, right? Like you saw
yeah.
this. Yeah. So like, what's the vibe with like? What
I
do you?
mean, I'll be honest, man. Like, I am not excited for it at all, really. This kind of sounds reminiscent of like last year when we were talking about Cold War coming out, and like I didn't have high expectations. I was not very excited about it. I think I was on the fence if I would get it or not. I ended up not even getting it. You ended up buying it, I think, for me. I don't know if it was on sale or what it was, but you ended up picking it up for me. And we've had fun with the game. Don't get me wrong. Like Nuketown's a blast. Zombies is always a good time. Um, but I wasn't excited for the game, and I didn't end up going out of my way for it. And I would say this is kind of the same thing. Like I'm not super excited about it. I'm not pumped about it. Um, to me, again, like when I think World War II, my mind always goes back to like Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers, like that gritty, more realistic World War II kind of thing. Like that's what I want. If I'm going to play a World War II game, that's what I want. And we had Call of Duty World War II, I think was the title, a few years ago, and it wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't great either. And this, to me, looks like it's even less like that game in terms of like it doesn't look super gritty to me. It kind of looks like a Michael Bay, like if Michael Bay made Call of Duty in a World War II setting. That's what it looks like to me. So maybe I'm just being a little bit negative, and but I'm a little Call of Duty out in a lot of ways, and I'm not excited for it. But maybe when I see a lot of gameplay, I have an open mind to it. But my initial impressions are like, whatever. Like I'm not excited for it.
So I say, like, visually speaking, I actually do like kind of what they did with it, and maybe that's like, I don't know, that could be a preference on just visual things in general, like aesthetically, maybe what's the most pleasing. That could be like particular to each person, but I think it's like it looks good. It looks very good, but I mean, the only thing that's like weird to me about that game is that you're not just in the standpoint of like, you know, uh, England or America. Like you're kind of, as far as at least it seems like, based on what they're pitching, is that like you pretty much have to play or be a part of each section or each militant's place. So it's almost like you're playing as the Soviet, and you're playing as the
Kind of like what
American.
World of War did. I mean, kind of on paper
But
sounds a
even
little bit like that.
that much more so, or at least it
Yep.
seems like it's that much more so. It seems like it's like you're really going to be involved in taking part of each person's story, which is fine. I mean, it's definitely weird for a World War II game because, again, like you
Well,
said,
I liked it in World of War. I liked it. So, I mean, in concept, I think that it sounds good. Like if it was like World of War, I would probably be more excited. But from what I saw, it doesn't look like it to me. And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe maybe a bunch of people would disagree with what I'm saying. I don't know.
well, so I think the biggest thing to take away is like for us especially, and a lot of people I'm sure that like watch these videos, a lot of people that just generally play Call of Duty. I think for the most part, the majority of people are playing Warzone. So I think the biggest thing to take away from this is like, how is it actually going to affect Warzone as opposed to everything else, right? So a new Call of
Hmm.
Duty title is going to be launched every single fucking year, without fail. It's always going to come around like September, October, November, anywhere in the fall season. It's usually November, and they drop the new game. With that being said, it's a matter of how it's going to affect the long-term game of Call of Duty. Because right now, right, so we've been playing Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone for the past probably 2 years, or close to, right?
I think honestly, I think Warzone came out in like February of 2020, so it's like a year and a half, something like that.
Well,
I
whatever. Yeah.
think.
So
Correct me if I'm wrong. Something like that.
whatever it is, it's been quite some time. We've had Warzone. We've been playing that. That's been changing a ton, which I will get into at a certain point, sure. But I just want to throw this out there. Regardless if you love or hate the game, I think for the sake of somebody who's involved in playing Warzone, I think if you really fuck with that, it's worth picking
Mm.
up the game. And I'll say that just for the simple reason, like they cater very much to those who buy their titles. Like if you've taken anything from what we've seen in when Cold War dropped, right? I mean, when Cold War dropped, it's like we literally had all these new weapons, all these guns that became the absolute meta of what we see, which has changed. Again, get into it, but they made it worthwhile for people to play their game, level up the guns their way, and so I mean, I think it's going to be worth it for people playing Warzone. And if you decide to yourself, hey, maybe it's just not worth me picking up the title, I don't even want to play that part of the franchise. I don't know, maybe that's something you want to do. Nonetheless, I think you're still going to definitely see a lot of big changes in Warzone. So without touching on anything else, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think right now, in terms of where we're at in Warzone, we've seen a ton of balance, and I think we've seen I think we've seen a lot of big changes, but I think it'll be that much more
Yeah.
drastic. Apparently, uh, what they're or what we're hearing, the rumors are, is that we're gonna get a new map, and not new map in terms of Verdansk, but reconfigured, like a new map. And I think that would be ideal. I think that'd be great. I think to have something different. I mean, in the past couple weeks alone, what we've played for, we have not played Verdansk at all. Anytime we got to play, we played Rebirth, and that's
Yeah.
just for the simple purpose of less hackers, usually speaking, not all the time, but usually less hackers, less bullshit to go through, whatever. I think it's quicker to the action. I think just having optionality is big for games like this, especially like you look at a game, as maybe as outdated as it is, PUBG is, they have options. You can go on
Yeah.
PUBG, you can play different maps.
They're putting out new content consistently,
Yeah.
and obviously people are playing it. I mean, the game would go under by now if no one was playing it. So even
So,
look at
so let me,
Apex.
let me
Apex has
well,
put out how many maps now?
I think
So
well, so Apex is another thing we'll kind of maybe wrap around to if we get the chance in this video. But I do want to throw out there that also beyond all else, Apex is a game that a lot of people are inclined towards playing right now because of the fact that they're doing, as they've done, they're taking a lot of measures to make sure that there's no cheating or hacking.
hackers, yeah. I
Which
played it. I played it last week. I had a good time. It was fun. I actually came in second place. My first game back.
so I think maybe that's something worth thinking about. But anyways, besides of that, kind of coming back to the Call of Duty thing. So like, let me ask you this, right? So like, obviously, we don't know what to expect, and they can make all the claims they want. We can hear a bunch of rumors, whatever else. What do you? Let me ask you this. Okay, one, what would be what you expect to see, and then like two, what would you want to see?
So are we talking Vanguard or are we talking
Like
Warzone?
when Vanguard's introduced, we see that
Okay.
implemented. Obviously, it's gonna have some effect on Warzone. It's been very
Yeah.
clear. So what do you want to see, and what do you think is gonna actually happen?
So, I mean, honestly, what I'd like to see is a new map. I mean, obviously, if it's going to be World War II, we're going to have World War II era weapons. So we're going to have like the M1 Garand. We're going to have the Car 98. We're going to have the Gewehr. We're going to have the MP40. We're going to have a bunch of these World War II weapons that I love. So I think that's going to be awesome. One thing that I will say, I'll kind of segue into talking about Warzone and where it is currently. So the hacking is absolutely insane. A lot of us are all totally done with Verdansk. We don't want to play it. And I was kind of more open-minded to keep playing Verdansk until I started playing Rebirth with you guys recently. And that's all we've played since we started playing again. And we're having a really good time. We don't even want to play Verdansk. We might mix one in there a couple, like once in a while, but we're really not inclined to play it. But
Because of
the
hacking.
game,
Because of hacking.
because of hacking, yeah, and I think also just because the map is pretty old. People camp, they just hover around buy stations and camp. And even aside from the hacking, I think it's just kind of a little old. Like we need something new. But like you said before, you can just hop in there with Rebirth. It's quicker, you can respawn. It's just, for whatever reason, we're having more fun with that. But one thing I will say that they've done so much better with is that they really have balanced the weapons
Mm,
better than I think I've ever seen in the game, which I'm
yeah.
surprised to say, because when the game is in such a bad state in terms of hackers and just like being stale with Verdansk, which is supposed to be your main mode, Warzone, um, it's crazy that they got the weapons so balanced. Like
Mm.
you could kind of play with whatever the hell gun you want right now, and you could do well with it. Like whatever gun that you may have liked at some point, go back and play it. It might be good again. Like, or maybe there was a meta gun that you never even played with, and like now you can dominate with it. But what I would like to say is, I like to see those World War II weapons. I love World War II weapons. I would like to see a new map. I don't know what they're going to do with the map. Like, is it going to be set back in the 40s? Is it going to be
Mm.
just like, is there a time traveling thing? Like, I don't know. There kind of like a time traveling thing with the whole Cold War integration into Warzone. I don't even know story wise what's going
Yeah,
on, but
I mean, as far as my understanding goes, you're kind of in Verdansk in present day, at least prior to Cold War, right? So Black Ops Cold
mm,
War came out. I think they dialed it back, 2040, or I guess if we're speaking currently, 40 years, right? I think we dial back to like 1983, 1984. And so that's definitely a factor. The main question is, so okay, and it's just it really just capitalizes on what you're kind of grinding towards, right? So you're saying, okay, is it going to be a completely separate map? Is it going to be something that is just involved with the pre-existing Verdansk? My thing is, I actually don't know. What I will say is, if they go down that route, I think that'll be a huge letdown, in my opinion. I don't think it would be nice. I don't think in any way it's cool to see them go, hey, this is the map, and this is the map in the 1980s, and this is the map in the 1940s. It's like, no, why don't we just do something
Yeah.
separate? Why don't we do something completely on its own? Because then that way, for the people that are like myself, maybe like you, and I'm sure a lot of players that are get tired of playing Verdansk and playing with the sweatiest people ever that just camp, that don't do anything else, that, like, I mean, let alone the hacking makes the game so not worth it. And I'm going to throw just as a quick kind of side note, right? So the big reason why I don't mind playing Rebirth and running into hackers is because guess what? It's so fast. It doesn't matter. If I run into a hacker and I lose, oh well, I'll play
Dude,
another game and I can
you
get right
literally
into it.
figure out in the lobby half the time. In the lobby before the game even
Yeah,
starts in the
40.
pregame. You're like, okay, I'll just back out and I'll pop back into a new game, and there won't be a hacker. Hopefully,
So
it's
that's like,
easier.
but that's what I'm saying. So it's almost like relatively speaking, it's quick. In
Mm,
terms of Verdansk, it takes forever. And then what ends up happening is
yeah,
half the time you get to like mid game, late game, 20 minus, 25 minus players. You get to the end and it's like you get murked by some random kid who's using aimbot. And it's that kind of thing deters people, I think, in general. So, I mean, what I will say is based on other rumors that I'm sure, you've heard too, that they're going to implement more anti-cheat, more measures to make sure that this thing
mm,
is really stabilized, that this game is where it needs to be. Obviously, in terms of the weapon balancing, they've done a great job. So I think they are leaning towards that. The question is
mm.
how, to what degree, because I've seen. I mean, we witnessed it literally together the other night when it was. I think it was me, you, maybe Chris. We were playing the end of the game, and I bought you guys back, and there was one guy left. There was a team of hackers, and I killed two of the three. I don't remember exactly how. I just slapped him real quick,
Yeah,
and then there was one guy left with like insane aimbot, wall
yeah.
detection.
He
I mean,
literally sniped me and another guy out of the sky, and while we were downed in the sky, he shot us again before we hit the ground
yeah,
with a bolt action sniper rifle.
yeah.
Just
So I
auto
mean,
locked aimbot at us.
yeah. So you can imagine how ridiculous that is to begin with, but then on top of it, it's like the kid had Damascus camouflage for all of his weapons. Now I don't know. Look, could you hack that and make that happen? I'm sure you could, but
Mm.
as far as I'm concerned, that's a person who's been playing the game who hasn't been shut down,
Who hasn't been banned? Yeah,
and
I
that's
think that's
like
common.
that's a big problem though, man. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if they go down the route of just implementing something entirely new, that's the way to go. Do things that are so unconventional to what we've seen so far. Implement
Yeah.
anti-cheat. Stop capitalizing on the money you're
But here's
probably
what I don't
making.
get. Like, why do you need a new map to do it? Like, what are they waiting for? Like, unless they're going to use an entirely new game engine. But from what I've heard, Warzone is still kind of running on that Modern Warfare game engine. So, like, I mean, maybe there's a really good reason, but I would love to understand, like, what are they waiting for? Why is it a new map? Like, why do we have to wait for a new map for you
You
to
know what
figure
though?
this out?
I think the thing is though, um, I don't think it's that we really have to wait per se for a new map, but I think it's a matter of if if they do that, if they bring along like so, let's say for instance you have Verdansk, you have Rebirth, and then you have something else. I think that's great because I think again it's the optionality. It's just being able to choose from other things. Like you don't always want to be stuck into playing the same exact thing every time. And although that might be appealing to some people, considering the fact that we've run into hackers probably upwards of 50% of the time that we've played Verdansk, it makes it very hard to want to get
Yeah,
involved in
literally.
a game that potentially could take you 40 fucking minutes to finish. And then by the time you get to that ending part where you spent 40 minutes, there's a guy who literally beams you across map, doesn't miss a shot, and then you lose. I
Yeah.
mean,
And honestly, what I think is becoming common too is like I think some of these hackers have gotten smarter and they're like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do the aimbot. I'm just going to do like wall hacks so I can just see where everyone is,
Hmm.
and just that helps them. But let's say there's no hackers. Let's just pretend there's no hackers, and we know there are a lot of hackers. When you put 30 minutes into a game and you're down to the last three teams and you get killed by some like loser who's like hiding in a room, like it's a bummer, man. And like you run into that constantly. And like I'm not going to say that that's a Warzone specific thing. I mean, there's camping in almost every kind of like serious multiplayer, Halo or um Apex. I feel like there's less because the movement is so good and fast that there's a lot of like people that aren't going to camp. But there are a lot of games. Like camping is a problem in so many games, and it's just a bummer when you invest so much time. And that's why I think we've been having a good time with Rebirth, because it's like, okay, let's say I have an hour or 2 hours to play. How many different games can I get in? I could probably get some wins in. And I'm just going to have more fun overall instead of like, oh, okay, I played 3 games over the course of, or 4 games over the course of 2 hours. And I got killed by hackers in half of the games. And then the other games, I got killed by people camping in pies, like, and I think that's what's going on. But who knows? I mean, maybe with Vanguard, and if they're going to have an anti cheat, I mean, definitely that will help. That'll definitely make a big difference. If you're having a new map, that's going to be awesome too. People have been waiting for a new map forever. Um, I think those are steps in the right direction. And I got to say, for anybody who's like on the fence with Call of Duty, which I don't think you'd be this far into the video if you're not playing Call of Duty, because you probably would have turned it off by now. But let's say you're someone who used to play Warzone and you're just sick of it. I will say Rebirth is a lot of fun. And I will say that whatever weapon you may have loved at one point, go back, play that weapon, because you can have a lot of fun with it again. Like I literally am rocking a Milano with a 3x on it, and I'm destroying people. The CX9, 3x VLK scope on it, destroying people with it. I got my M16. I threw a thermal scope on it because just to change it up. I always have the 3x on it just to change it up, do something fresh. Kicking butt with that thing. I know you've been using an M4. I know people are still using the Krig. I know one of your buddies was saying he's still using the C52, or what's the C58?
C58, yeah, C58.
C58. Yeah. So like honestly, like, and when you're playing, I mean, normally everybody knows, man. If you've been playing Warzone for any extent of time, what's the meta? What's the build? Everybody's going to YouTube or TikTok or whatever the hell they're on, and you're looking up what's the meta and what's the loadout. Okay, I want to have the best weapon. That's kind of out the window right now. You can kind of play with whatever you want. And when you're playing the game, you run into, instead of get everybody using the same weapon and you're getting killed by the same weapon over and over and over, everybody's using different stuff. And I love that. Like that should have been that way from the get-go. That should have always been that way. Every weapon should be viable. Like, why do you just have one that is so like insanely better than another? Like that's been the case literally since Warzone came out, more or less. So I think in that aspect, I'm very excited and I'm very impressed that they figured that out. And if they can figure out, let's get a new map, let's figure out the hacking. I don't know why you need a new map to figure out the hacking thing, unless you have a new game engine, but I didn't hear anything about that. But either way, I'm hopeful. We've been having fun with it. There's definitely problems with it, but I would say if you're a Warzone person, if you have fun with it, the game is in an amazing state in terms of the weapon balancing. And I'm super pumped about that. Like we've been having a blast like we kind of fell off. I mean, we really weren't playing the game a whole lot in the last couple of months, but for the last week or so, maybe a little longer, we've been having fun. We're getting on almost every day, and yeah, man, we're having a good time.
Yeah, and so like what I would kind of throw on top of that is that I think a big reason why we weren't playing in general was just because of the fact that there was so many hackers, and beyond just that, it's just sus shit, man. It's just, when you're playing a game and nobody knows where you are and there's just I mean, it's just always, it's something that you gotta question. I mean, I've played a 1,000 BRs. Like I think top to bottom, I probably played almost every BR that there is.
Hmm.
And the shit that that happens in Warzone happens in no other BR. And you
Yeah.
got to start to question, how reliable or how worthwhile is it for me to play this game? I mean, if I'm going to go on there and I'm going to devote 2, 3, 4 hours just to come out at 16th place because somebody does something cheesy that they always do. I mean, and look, I don't have the answers to how they could mitigate that or how they could make it better. I don't. But the fact of the matter is, it's really tough and it's really hard to get into a game, get involved, and be happy about playing the game when there's just so many things. There's so many things, and I'm not going to count the weapon balancing because right now, like you said, I mean, it is in a great place, but a lot of other things are kind of up in the air, and not just again, not even just in terms of the hacking. There's just a lot of things that make the game undesirable, and so for the implementation of new map, for them to kind of take a new approach, obviously, always introducing new weapons is fun. It's a good time, but I think a lot of that has to do with what are we going to see in terms of major changes? Are we going to see them really put things on overhaul? Are we going to see a new engine? Are we going to see, yes, are we going to see a new map? But if we do see a new map, is it going to be an actual new map? Is it going to be a brand new thing, or is it going to be a variation of what we've already seen? So that's like something definitely to think about. Um, right now, I think overall, I mean, yeah, I've been having fun with it. But I do think unless they make some major moves, you're going to start to see a lot of people change over to things like Apex, things like Fortnite. I think people are going to kind of
And
result
battle.
off.
Well, look on the horizon. We got Battlefield coming out. We got Halo coming out, and I know a lot of people are like, I have not played Halo in like 5+ years, 6 years. I'm ready for Halo. Like I'm itching to play some Halo. And granted, right now we don't know if there's going to be a battle royale. There is talk that there will be one, but we don't really know. One thing I'll bring up too, really quick. We won't talk about it in this episode, but they just announced that the co-op is delayed in the Halo campaign, and that Forge mode is delayed. And I think that's a horrible move. Like, honestly, what I think they should do, if that's really the case, you can't, in my opinion, as a Halo fan, real quick, I'm going to come off this real quick.
No, I'm only making that face because I'm like, actually, like I didn't hear that, but I'm curious now.
Yeah.
So
Like, you
their
cannot have a Halo campaign without co-op, dude. I mean, that was one of the things that differentiated Halo from all the other games that ever came out before it, especially for a console, was like you could sit there with your buddy and play through this entire campaign together. Like, to take that away and not have that at the launch of the game is a terrible mistake. Okay, that's A. B, Forge mode is where a lot of players create amazing maps that you can now play in multiplayer mode. So to not have that is a bummer, but not as big a deal as the co-op thing to me. So in my opinion, what they should do is, if this is really the case and they can't get co-op to work properly in time, put the multiplayer out in the holiday, put it out like they were planning to. It's free to play to begin with, so it's a free game, and then put the campaign out when it's ready. Because they're saying they're going to put out the co-op or whatever 4 months after or something, and it's like, dude, that is so lame. Like, that's immoral. You can't put out a freaking Halo game with no co-op.
yeah.
But back to what I was saying though, with Battlefield, you got Battlefield coming out. People are pumped about it. Again, they have not announced a battle royale, but don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had in a battle royale game, but you could do things kind of like look at Verdansk. I mean, look at Rebirth Island. It's kind of a battle royale, but it's different. Like, you can respawn. It's a smaller map. So I don't see why Battlefield can't or won't do things like that. So there are a lot of games that are coming out with other things that they're going to have some competition. So they're always going to have their Call of Duty people that buy the game no matter what. It's like Madden, people that are going to buy Madden no matter what. But for people like you and I who really like the game, and obviously we've put an insane amount of time into it, how many of these episodes have been dedicated to talking about it? But we have a lot of problems with the game. And if I find something that captivates me, I'm not just gonna be like loyal to Call of Duty. I'm gonna play other games. Like, I love Halo. I could probably put 90% of my time into Halo if Halo Infinite has a really good multiplayer mode, or let's say Battlefield is really good. I love, dude. Battlefield 1 was my favorite multiplayer game, probably like up until Warzone. Like, I loved that game. Like, Halo 5 had really good multiplayer. The story sucked. Multiplayer was very good. But then after that, I started playing Battlefield 1. I played that for probably a good 2 years. That game was amazing. So Battlefield 2042, I think people are going to be ready for it, with crazy maps, crazy player counts, vehicles, the modern combat, or futuristic combat, as opposed to the World War II. I think people are over the World War II, I personally. Like, I know even Nick Merckx was like kind of going on a rant about it. Like, he's over it, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think all in all, there's definitely a lot to look forward to. I would say right now, again, Call of Duty in general is, or at least Warzone is in a pretty decent place as far as the weapons, as far as what they're leaning towards, but I don't think it's where it should be. I
Mm.
think it's going to take some time, and hopefully, with again with the implementation of a new map, with the new game coming out, obviously, all that could result in a much better playing experience for I think everybody overall. And I don't, I will stand very strong on the idea that like if they don't do that the right way, I think they're going to lose a lot of their fan base. I think they're going to really fall off if they don't step it up. If they don't make it worth playing again. So.
Yeah. No, I think they have a lot of work to do. I will say I'm very happy about the weapon balancing. That is a good sign to me. And let's see. I mean, again, Cold War, I was kind of, whatever. I had some fun
Cold
with
War
it.
is trash. Cold War, except for zombies, Cold War is garbage.
Yeah. So I feel like we're kind of in the same place. But if let's say Vanguard is the excuse to put out the new map and have these World War II era weapons, it could freshen up the game enough that it's still the game that we're playing and still the game we're talking about on a pretty consistent basis. But I guess we'll see.
Um, yeah, I think other than that, uh, thank you to any and everybody tuned in. We're going to try to release shit more consistently, but obviously, we leave it up to ear. We do everything we can to make videos for you guys. It's just very difficult to make it happen as frequently as we'd like. But nonetheless, it does mean a lot. Anybody who stopped in, listened to the video, even if you cut to the end. Um, and if you haven't hit that like, subscribe, all that stuff, all down beneath, you should do that.
Leave a comment. Let us know
Yeah, let us
what
know what you
beers
want.
you like, what beers you want us to try out.
Mhm.
Also, I would say maybe next episode, I would like to talk. There's a game in particular that I would like to talk about, The Ascent, which you could actually play on Xbox Game Pass. But this is like a love it, hate it thing. And like the hate it part, this comes from technical like difficulties with the game, like bugs and stuff. But I wanted to kind of maybe it'll be cool if I mean maybe it'll change by the time we end up doing another episode. But I think it'll be cool, kind of leave a little sneak peek of like what we might talk about in the next episode. So I would like to talk about The Ascent. Troy, I'll put you on the spot. Anything you want to talk about maybe in the next episode?
Something that maybe we touch on as more information kind of leaks out. Maybe we kind of touch on, what's going on with Halo, because obviously with the rumors of there being a BR, that's
Hmm.
going to be a big deal to people. And I don't mean just for people like myself who have been longtime fans. I mean people that have never heard of the series, people that are newly introduced. I think this is going to be a big deal. If they do it and they do it properly, this could, in my opinion, wipe everything else off the map.
Yeah.
Halo has been an outstanding series, top to bottom, and you can sit there and you can maybe pick one or two, or maybe you want to say 90% of the titles that they've released were not your favorite, but at the end of the day, in terms of sales, in terms of overall success, Halo has, and in terms of trend setting and revolutionary, action, I think Halo has done a lot for the gaming
Yeah.
community, and I think it's worth like when the time comes, as we start to learn a little bit more, when we start to kind of solidify and cement things, maybe that's worth touching on. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, oh, definitely, dude. And I think people are ready for like a really good competitive multiplayer game. Hopefully, it can get the esports behind it if it's good enough, and streamers. I mean, dude, honestly, if you really want a multiplayer game to succeed nowadays, you got to have the streamers behind it. So hopefully, the game is captivating enough, it's competitive and fun enough and balanced enough that everybody can kind of get into it. And maybe we have a nice alternative to BRs. Again, there may be a battle royale, but as of right now, I'm okay with just multiplayer modes, man. I mean, I love Halo. I went back and played the Master Chief Collection over the last 6 months a bunch of times, playing Halo 2, 3, um, some Halo Reach multiplayer, and big team battle and all sorts of different modes, man. I'm having a blast. So, well, and the biggest thing though is if you go back and play those games, not having sprint is a little rough. That's the roughest part about playing those games, but I'm very excited and I can't wait to see what they do. But yeah, that's what we'll hopefully talk about in the next episode, everybody. And again, leave a comment. Say screw you guys. You guys suck. Call of Duty. I hate Call of Duty.
And that could be very much true. Nonetheless, it's definitely appreciated because at the end of the day, the feedback, something that's worth putting towards being a part of the conversation, is always in our eyes something that we're going to value as important, and we're going to be very appreciative of that, because at the end of the day, these are conversations, yes, that we're going to have, but it's also something worth talking about amongst other people that are obviously interested in the same things. And there's a lot of that going on right now, and with the way the market is in general, there's so much to talk about. And we are people that are pretty much open to the idea of playing anything and everything, but we definitely want to hear the input that we miss. Those whether it could come from the beer, again, it come from the games. Nonetheless, it goes a long way. We are looking forward to the next talk, and until next time, I hope you guys drink good beer, playing good games. Hopefully, we learn more about this Call of Duty Vanguard. You drink some Pinstripe Pilsner, or maybe some zero gravity wet hot American IPA.
Or maybe, or maybe buy some Pokemon cards, because
and he's got those decks on hand. That could be useful too.
You got to be ready. You got to be ready.
And yeah, we hope you guys are having a good time, and we'll see you guys in the next one.